No. Now
connecting issues पे तो late हो गया.
Nice to see you in a new look. चलिए अच्छा. बहुत अच्छा लगा. आपसे मिलकर बेहद खुशी होती है और जो कुछ समय हम लोगों ने किसी जगह साथ बिताए और जिस इवेंट को आपने कोऑर्डिनेट किया तो वो मेरे लिए एक लाइफ लॉन्ग एक्सपीरियंस है और आगे भी रहेगा. और बहुत कुछ आपके माध्यम से उस कार्यक्रम के माध्यम से सीखने का मौका लगा और मुझे इसीलिए बार बार मन करता है कि हम अपने जो बिहार के हमारे शिक्षकगण हैं कॉलेज के और यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के, उसमें आप लोगों के संगठन में और सरकार के द्वारा या टेक्नोलॉजी के इंटरवेंशन से एजुकेशन में और क्या चीज़ें होने वाली हैं, तो एटलीस्ट दैट अवेयरनेस पार्ट इज communicated to the participants of this faculty induction program. तो मैं एक बार formally on behalf of the UGC-HRDC and on behalf of the participants of the teachers of the universities and colleges who are participating in this fourth faculty induction program, we welcome you to this afternoon session on a very significant topic which you have suggested. और हमारे जो शिक्षक प्रतिनिधिगण हैं यहाँ पे उनके लिए जानकारी के तौर पर मैं अभी थोड़ी देर पहले बात कर रहा था कि पिछले 2 वर्ष पूर्व हम लोगों ने गोवा में एक इंटरनेशनल साइंस मीट हुआ था जहाँ आपसे सर से हमारी मुलाकात हुई, श्री सुबोध सचन जी से. और जो नई टेक्नोलॉजी आईटी सेक्टर में आ रही है, दुनिया को हर तरह से प्रभावित कर रही है, तो हम शिक्षा और शिक्षण जगत से जुड़े हुए जो लोग हैं वहाँ भी बहुत तेजी से इंटरवेंशन हो रहा है इस टेक्नोलॉजी का. तो इन्हीं विषयों पे बातचीत करने के लिए, अपनी राय देने के लिए और जो गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से डायरेक्टिव्स हैं उन पे आप हम सबों को अवगत कराने के लिए वी हैव श्री सुबोध सचन जी. आई हैव विथ मी अ स्मॉल जस्ट इंट्रोडक्शन अबाउट श्री सुबोध सचन जी. हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स की जानकारी के लिए कि श्री सुबोध सचन जी ही इज ऑनरेबल डायरेक्टर ऑफ सॉफ्टवेयर टेक्नोलॉजी पार्क ऑफ इंडिया and managing director and CEO of STPI Next, and he's heading pan-India startup initiatives of software technology parks of India, including establishment of domain-specific centers of entrepreneurship in emerging technologies like Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, blockchain, augmented reality, virtual reality. Shri Subodh Sachan ji is an alumnus of IIT Roorkee and IIM Bangalore. So this combination is very powerful combination in the technological sector. And he is a senior professional from the industry who has joined the Software Technology Park of India after working in the industry at global level in various capacities. He has worked in diversified areas of the technology industry, a major portion of which is into telecom sector. In particular, he has been part of startups in leadership role, right from the inception to successful listing of the company. On the other side of the industry spectrum, he has also been part of the senior management in multinational companies and global telecom like Motorola and Nokia. He has successfully headed the Bangalore chapter of Indian Institute of Management Ahmedabad Center for Innovation, Incubation and Entrepreneurship. तो इस बैकग्राउंड के साथ हम लोग we are very honored to have Shri Subodh Sachan ji with us to deliberate upon the applications of IT sector into our sector, the education sector. So over to you for your presentation.
Thank you and namaskar to respected Dr. Atul Pandey ji and to all the respected community from the very respected and revered community of teachers and professors. And it's always an honor and privilege for me to be associated with any such initiatives which is related to जो भी हम अपनी फील्ड में करते हैं उसको उस ज्ञान को थोड़ा आदान प्रदान करने से ये एक हमेशा एक अनुभूति होती है क्योंकि इससे हम भी सीखते हैं. तो दिस इंटरेक्शन which I want to have here today, probably I'll run through a small presentation, but this is also, while it may be probably some new topics which probably I may touch upon, but mostly I'm sure जो भी मैं आज बताने जा रहा हूँ वो आप सबको किसी न किसी रूप में किसी न किसी फॉर्म में पता होगा. बट जब हम इस तरह की मीटिंग में आते हैं, तो इस तरह के डिस्कशंस में आते हैं, तो खुद भी जब प्रिपेयर करते हैं तो उससे खुद की भी लर्निंग होती है। इसलिए मैं इस फोरम का, डॉक्टर अतुल पांडे जी का मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूँ। So before I start my presentation, what I really thought was I'll focus a part of my discussion in terms of what is really happening in terms of digital education. And when we talk about digital education, what are the technologies which are playing key role, which probably some of the technologies, because I don't think so that I can cover all the technologies which are playing a key role in shaping up uh, let me see if my screen is visible. I hope my screen is visible.
No, sir.
Yeah.
आ रहा है धीरे-धीरे, sir.
अच्छा, very good. So basically, yeah, thank you, ji. So it's more about shaping how the digital education, and obviously some technology which I said कि इस digital education environment में आज कौन सी technologies क्या role play कर रही हैं, and especially जब हम इस segment में हैं education में, the focus of the education segment is to ensure the youth of our country is prepared for the upcoming future. And this is reason is very evident and very important, because the knowledge which comes from the new generation has to not just be looking forward to what is the upcoming areas in which their knowledge can be enhanced, but using what they learn in these in the initial years, the foundational years of both if we talk about K-12 and the undergraduate and the postgraduate studies, that actually shapes up the knowledge ecosystem of the country as well. And when you talk about knowledge ecosystem, the whole innovation driven ecosystem is what what is required. So isme what I would like to cover is what is really let's say the progress which has been happening in our country with respect to digital India. And I think मैं education में जब focus थोड़ा सा आज topic में करूंगा, तो मैं कुछ parallels draw करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ with some other sectors, so that जब हम टॉपिक को समझें तो हम किसी और सेक्टर से इंस्पिरेशन ले सकते हैं. तो इसलिए मैं आज थोड़ा बहुत हेल्थ केयर सेक्टर पे फोकस करूंगा, जिसमें इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजीज का यूज के बारे में थोड़ा टॉपिक को मैं कवर करता हूं, जिससे वी कैन हैव knowledge, we can have open our minds in terms of what can be achieved and what is being achieved in the sector of education, right? As we understand very clearly, Digital India जो इस सरकार का जो फ्लैगशिप प्रोग्राम था, 2014 के बाद में इसका इंसेप्शन हुआ, और 2015 से लगभग डिजिटल इंडिया की बहुत सारे इनिशिएटिव्स इन्हें फोकस कर रहा है. और आज हम जब 7-8 सालों के डिजिटल इंडिया के एडवांसमेंट के बारे में देख रहे हैं, तो we know there has been very clearly the Digital India program had 3 of very key focus. One was we have to give impetus and push to digital infrastructure, so that digital infrastructure is available as a utility to every citizen. It is not available as something which is available only to very limited few, but it is available as a utility to each and every citizen of the country. And that is very important to say, because जब हम पूरे देश की बात कर रहे हैं, हम हर क्षेत्र की बात करते हैं जहां पर डिजिटल इंडिया के माध्यम से डिजिटल इंडिया की रीच पहुंचे, उसके लिए बहुत सारे इंपॉर्टेंट, तो सरकार was focused on ensuring there is high speed internet, there is a amount of devices which are available should actually proliferate at the cost points which can be afforded by the people. But also when we talk about, there will be a significant class of people who may still not be able to afford either the mobile phone or the digital devices through which they can be part of the digital ecosystem. And hence the role of Common Services Center, which is also imagined and planned by this by the government. And hence today, if we talk about more than 3.5 lakhs of common service centers, they are becoming the nodal points in each and every rural part of the country where digital services are being given. So digital infrastructure as a utility is being made available. But what was important was that within digital infrastructure, what should reside? What has to go out is what there is a need that all the governance and services on demand must be made available to each and every part of the each and every citizen. When we talk about that, it is important that when unique digital identity हो रही है, या एक आपका आज जनधन मोबाइल के द्वारा बैंक अकाउंट हो रहा है, ऑनलाइन सर्विसेज आपको आसानी से मिल सकें, और ये सर्विसेज सिर्फ सिटीजन्स को नहीं मिले, बट गवर्नेंस के क्षेत्र में भी ये सर्विसेज अवेलेबल हो, सो दैट इज वी विद इन द गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर वी आर एबल टू टेक राइटफुल डिसीजंस which are, which will ensure there is an empowerment which happens to the citizens. But for empowerment, it was important that digital literacy and digital resources are made available. And accordingly, when we talk about this initiative of the UGC, which probably aims towards capacity building, knowledge building, and knowledge sharing, this also is towards the same dimension and same theme, that the digital literacy and digital resources may be made available. And today, if you're talking about this platform, we are able to speak from this platform of, I'm sitting somewhere in one part of the country, and everyone else within various from various places are able to connect. This is only possible because of the focus which the government had on the digital India, the focus on ensuring that the digital resources are made available, the focus of not just ensuring that the digital should not become the content of the digital should not become specific to one particular language, but the content is also available in all Indian languages, and the government has done a tremendous work over there. But what is important to understand from the ecosystem which I come, the startups are these are the foundational, are also very, very important role which they are playing in terms of structure of digital India, right? The startups today have played a role of ensuring that the structure which was created by the government, the structure which was envisioned by the government, is being delivered through various services. And this is possible because you will see, when start seeing across each other, there are tremendous number of startups which have come on, which have brought a new innovation. The innovation which includes from the fact that even अगर हम नई फॉर्म के एजुकेशन की बात कर रहे हैं, वो भी एक स्टार्टअप द्वारा पावर हो रहा है. और अगर मैं फाइनेंशियल इकोसिस्टम की बात करूं, या मैं एग्रीकल्चरल इकोसिस्टम की बात करूं, वहां पे भी स्टार्टअप्स आर प्लेइंग अ की रोल वेयर डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन इज बीइंग कैरिड फॉरवर्ड. एंड इफ आई सी दैट वे, व्हाट इज रियली हैपनिंग today, startups are not just the vehicle for bringing innovation, but they're also driving force for the Indian economy. The reason I'm saying is very simple, because आज स्टार्टअप्स, अगर 108 यूनिकॉर्न्स की बात हम कर रहे हैं, हम सिर्फ 108 यूनिकॉर्न्स के नहीं, डेकाकॉर्न्स की बात कर रहे हैं, या आज हम ऐसी बात भी कर रहे हैं कि स्टार्टअप्स जो हैं कितनी आईपीआर क्रिएट कर रहे हैं. नॉलेज क्रिएशन, रैपिड इनोवेशन, आईपीआर क्रिएशन हमारे रिसर्च एनवायरनमेंट में, हमारे एजुकेशन इकोसिस्टम के एनवायरनमेंट में, हमारे एकेडमिक सिनेरियो में बहुत हो रहा था. बस इस इंटेलेक्चुअल कैपिटल को क्या एक मीनिंगफुल वे में सोल्यूशन के फॉर्म में कन्वर्जन हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है, this is very important, and that is what is being achieved through the startups today. What the startups are also further doing is, the startups, they have a risk-taking capabilities, and hence they're able to bring in new technologies which are eventually helping in bringing in efficiencies, bringing in better solutions for if we speak so. And this is important. This has happened because the last 30 years of the 3 decades in which the IT revolution has happened in the country, that IT revolution has actually helped to ensure that there is now a new breed of people which has come from the formal education. They would have come after 2000, 2003, 2004 के बाद के जो बच्चे हैं, उन्होंने इनोवेशन में, उन्होंने स्टार्टअप्स के इकोसिस्टम में बहुत कुछ नया ऐसा क्रिएट कर दिया है, which is actually now, this is the reason why we are the 3rd largest startup ecosystem today, and the day is not very far when we should be, and we are aiming for, as a country, we are aiming for becoming the largest startup ecosystem. And again, when I say largest, it should not just be through a vision, but it has to be driven through a lot of activities, initiatives. And when we talk about within my role or within the role of various governments, it has been believed that this is the way forward, and the startup ecosystem को technology driven बनाने के लिए education ecosystem को भी हमारे digitally power होना जरूरी है, digitally aware होना जरूरी है, और digitally excel करना बहुत जरूरी है, right? If I even there are very key facts that why most people in the economy, most people in the industry feel that established companies cannot achieve what startups can really achieve, right? It has been believed that startups and leaders of the the new age leaders can take the whole company, the whole corporate way forward, right? Now this is only possible, as I said, when the digital education meets the need of the need of this new environment. And what is this new environment? The new environment is very clearly that there has to be a very clear focus on a value education, but also on a technology education. And technology education, which is research, which is ensuring that we are talking about creating solutions of problems which are going to happen in future, not just the problems of which is available today. एंड उसके लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि हमारा एजुकेशन सिस्टम मस्ट ऑल्सो गेट इनटू ट्रांजिशन मोड वेयर वी आर क्रिएटिंग स्किल्ड रिसोर्सेज. ऑफन आपने सुना होगा कि हमारे बच्चे जब कॉलेज से निकल रहे हैं कितने वो इंडस्ट्री रेडी हैं, राइट? आई डोंट थिंक सो कि आप किसी भी इंडस्ट्री प्लेयर से आज से 15 साल 20 साल पहले पूछते तो बोलते इंडस्ट्री रेडीनेस क्या है हमारी यूथ की, तो दे वुड हैव सेड कि नहीं, वी हैव आवर ओन कंटेंट, वी हैव आवर ओन वे टू एंश्योर कि दे बिकम very useful for us. And this has happened because I came from the corporate ecosystem, as Dr. Atul ji ne bataya, and then we used to have our own training material, own training manuals, our own training routines, training calendar, so that the resources are skilled to meet the global needs, right? But aaj ki date pe, this is not something which is really this has changed, the change in a positive way, because आज एजुकेशन सिस्टम हो या द रिक्वायरमेंट जो डिजिटल एजुकेशन के पर्सपेक्टिव से या इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजीज के पर्सपेक्टिव से जो नॉलेज ऑलरेडी एकेडमिक इंस्टीट्यूशन द्वारा चेंज हो रही है, उसकी वजह से इट हैज हैपेंड कि our youth, the people who are coming out are slightly more industry ready, but this is not the end point, because there is still a need to ensure that our education ecosystem, the curriculum, the teaching methodologies, they actually make a leap forward and they make a transition, right? And while this is happening, this is when we talk about using digital, this is the way we teach, the what we teach, the content we teach has to also become futuristic, right? And while this is required, I am sure infrastructure की requirement हर जगह पर एक अच्छी होनी चाहिए, और उसके लिए चाहे वो UGC का फ्रेमवर्क हो, चाहे वो AICT का फ्रेमवर्क हो, चाहे वो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ HRD का फ्रेमवर्क हो, या मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड IT का फ्रेमवर्क हो, आई थिंक देश में इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पर एक काफी ज्यादा इंप्रूवमेंट हो रहा है, जैसे मैंने पहले बताया. But this is when we talk about education, when we talk about the technologies, what I thought is I'll cover few technologies primarily. And one of the prime focus which I thought which must taking forward what I covered in last my conversation was a technology of AI, right? Now AI is artificial intelligence जिसको हम बोलते हैं, is the prime technology which is driving overall emerging technologies, if I really say. अगर हम AI के बारे में सिंपल सा एक आप उदाहरण देखिए, कितनी बार हम जब बैंकिंग इकोसिस्टम को यूज करने की कोशिश करते हैं, वहां पर एक जनरली एक जगह जब हम यूजर आईडी पासवर्ड लिखते हैं, उसमें एक ऑप्शन होता है कि से विद यू आर नॉट रोबोट, राइट, और यू आर अ ह्यूमन, राइट. अगर हम ऐसा पूछते हैं, पर उसके पीछे क्या है, ये उसके पीछे जब मैं टिक करता हूं, जब बोलता हूं कि आई एम नॉट अ रोबोट, देयर इज आल्सो अ सम सेंस ऑफ एआई व्हिच इज इन प्ले. द एआई देयर इज व्हाट इट सेज दैट कि वेदर द मशीन फ्रॉम व्हिच यू आर एक्सेसिंग the banking ecosystem, the IP from which you are accessing the banking ecosystem, it looks into that whether the MAC address of the machine, the IP address of the machine, the program through which you are accessing the banking ecosystem, is it prone to bringing some errors in the banking ecosystem, and it is not powered by bots. If it is not powered by bots, then it allows you to access the banking ecosystem. This is very simplistic version of what the rule based decision making is under play. And this simplistic, because ये simplistic इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि यहाँ पर इस पर्टिकुलर एग्जाम्पल में अगर आप देखेंगे कि ये छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल है जहाँ पर डिसीजन मेकिंग पॉइंट्स 3 या 4 ही थे, और उस 3-4 डिसीजन मेकिंग पॉइंट के बेसिस में कुछ रूल्स के बेसिस पे आउटपुट गवर्न हो रहा था. बट इसी सिनेरियो को आप अगर एक और एंगल से देखते हैं, जो अगर हेल्थ केयर में देखें एआई कैसे यूटिलाइज हो रहा है, ये एक कॉम्प्लेक्स सिनेरियो का एग्जाम्पल है जहां पर कंप्लीट chain of the AI, the deep learning which is required to ensure that there is a solutions which can help the triaging part, solution which can help the detection and diagnostic part, solutions which can help in decision making part. I think that this is where the complex version of AI is under play. When I say complex, because when you talk about AI, we are talking about decision making through data. जो हम ह्यूमन ब्रेन की तरफ से जो हम एज अ व्हेन वी एनालाइज थिंग्स, वी आर एबल टू मेक डिसीजंस. The same thing how machine can make a decision, right? And in order to make machine making a decision, it is important that it makes a decision based upon certain data points. Larger the data points, the more complex the problem happens, right? How do and even the data points, if the data points are separate, they're different, for example, right? If the data points is not just the textual data, the data is not just the data in terms of some numbers, but data becomes image, the data becomes the video, then imagine the complexity which is involved. And within the healthcare, this example is, very well, answered by virtue of, talking about a solution. Now, there are startups, there are well-known companies working on solution which can scan the complete chest X-ray of a human, and with the scanning of the chest X-ray, they can analyze this, because the algorithms have analyzed, millions of such records earlier, and there is, these millions of records, when after analysis, they has resulted saying that, hey, this chest X-ray shows some form of disease which could be, which could be characterized based upon, the findings in such a way. Now, this decision making is actually aiding now the doctors, and this decision making is actually now bringing new forms of treatment also. Now, as we understand in healthcare, it's very important. The time is in essence. अगर कोई डिसीज राइट टाइम पर उसकी डायग्नोस्टिक हो जाती है, राइट टाइम पर उसकी डिसीजन मेकिंग के साथ साथ एक मेडिकेशन शुरू हो जाता है, तो उसका एक रिजल्ट एक अलग ही होता है. So that the whole earlier, when doctors used to, and a panel of doctors used to sit together, they used to analyze this in a human way. Now all this is actually happening, in a machine way, and machine is aiding the decision making, which is actually now helping, the healthcare ecosystem to really go up. And talk about this in a country like us, right? Country like India, where we are, 1.3, 1.4 billion people now. And when you talk about such a huge number of people, and amount of doctor-patient ratio is still very, very less. And I'll have another slide which shows that why AI is so important in healthcare in India. And when I say example of AI in healthcare, actually, I would like all of you to think about AI in education, because these are examples where solutions are already available. That's why I'm taking this example, right? Whether it is vision AI, which is the extraction of intelligence from the images, videos, or documents, whether it is conversational AI, which is, I'm sure, जब कोविड का बिल्कुल एक पीक चल रहा था, उस टाइम, गवर्नमेंट ने एक कोविन ऐप के थ्रू एक चैटबॉट किया. कन्वर्सेशनल एआई का भी बहुत ही अच्छा उदाहरण था. उसमें आप अपने सिम्टम्स को डिस्क्राइब करिए, and based upon symptoms, the chatbot would be able to help you out and say that कि whether आप कोविड पॉजिटिव हो सकते हैं कि नहीं हो सकते हैं, और आपको फर्दर क्या टेस्ट लेना चाहिए. Now this lifeline which was given by the conversational AI in the heights of pandemic was so important for a country like India, because उस टाइम पर our whole healthcare ecosystem was already strained. हम किससे बात करें जिससे हमें पता चले कि क्या मुझे कोविड को लेकर कुछ और टेस्ट कराने हैं, या मुझे कुछ और मेडिकेशन लेना है या नहीं लेना है. चैटबॉट जैसा सोल्यूशन, कन्वर्सेशनल एआई द्वारा पावर्ड जो था सोल्यूशन, हैज एक्चुअली हेल्प दैट. नाउ थिंक अबाउट द सेम कन्वर्सेशनल एआई सोल्यूशन इन एजुकेशन इकोसिस्टम. नाउ I'm sure, as a students, everybody had so many questions कि भाई मेरा ये stream, मुझे लगता है कि मेरे ये मुझे मैथ्स पसंद है, मुझे फिजिक्स पसंद है, मुझे कुछ और टॉपिक्स पसंद है, मुझे फर्दर रिसर्च करनी है, but how do I get questions answered? And this is only example from the career choice perspective. Similarly, there are plenty of examples which can say, as a student, you have so many questions, and not every time it is possible that teachers are available, the guides are available to answer your questions. And hence conversational AI in education ecosystem actually can help a lot to ensure that कि students के mind में students के questions का answer मिले, जिससे they are able to make a rightful decision. And similarly, there are other forms of AI, whether it is sense AI, which is powered through sensors, right? There is a decision AI which is, it automates the whole process. And I'll talk about one example in which, which potentially is seeing solutions in the education space later on my slide. But, it is important that, this, the AI today, for example, right? Why, what challenges within the Indian healthcare, as I talked about earlier, as a country, we still have a low doctor-patient ratio. And hence, country like India, it requires a solution which is digitally powered, requires solution which is powered through AI, requires solution which is powered through other forms of emerging technologies. And same is the challenge in the education ecosystem, right? Today, if I talk about, same in the healthcare, geographically skewed, right? Good healthcare services are only, available in urban centers, but you go to rural scenarios, rural environment, you will not find a good healthcare service provider there. And just see it from the education ecosystem today. Most of the people move forward saying that students let's go to Delhi, let's go to Patna, let's go to Bangalore, because that's where the right colleges are there. That's where I can get a better the graduate the learning. I can get a better research environment there. But this The problem cannot be solved in the education system by pushing all our students to the tier 1 cities, for example, right? There is a need for ensuring that the quality education, the better education is available in each and every part of the country, including rural and urban. And that's why, solutions which are empowered by technology, I'll not say AI alone, the education ecosystem which is powered by technology is so important, right? And same goes in affordability. Higher education today is, everybody knows that it comes at a very high cost as well, right? But technology has a lot of role which it can be played. And clear example is here is UPI. What UPI has been able to do in the banking ecosystem, it has brought, not just broken down the borders of the financial ecosystem, but it's also brought down the cost of transfer to a considerably low point right now. Today, UPI transfer is hardly costs anything then compared to what were the earlier cost of transferring money from A person to B person. Think about, older ecosystem जहाँ पर हम चेक के द्वारा या बैंक में जाने के द्वारा हम पैसे एक दूसरे से आदान प्रदान करते थे, या कैश इकोनॉमी थी. But today, digital economy powered by UPI has been able to bring down the whole cost of financial transactions of transferring money from A to B. And the same is possible when we talk about an education ecosystem, right? Inadequate trained staff in healthcare system, we all know. Similarly, हम जब इस तरह का ट्रेनिंग कर रहे हैं, मैं ये नहीं कहूँगा कि हम as a teachers, as a professors inadequate trained हैं, but digitally we know कि हमें digitally training और requirement है. इसलिए कुछ examples हो सकता है fit नहीं बैठे, but overall, you will see कि there is a good parallel of the healthcare ecosystem and the education ecosystem. And if the role of technology, emerging technologies has been proven in one particular sector, which is very similar, like an education sector, then I think there is already a role to play, within the edtech sector. Today, if I, again, taking forward the discussion, AI is addressing a lot of challenges in healthcare, and the challenges which I described in the previous slide, right? There are, today the solutions which are helping to ensure the tracking and monitoring happens, right? So that preventing mechanism is good. So self-care and prevention wellness is there. There is a triaging which is being helped today. Amount of the time taken to detect a particular disease and diagnose a particular disease with technology has come down. The better decision making is happening, right? Similarly, on the care delivery part, without the need of the trained nurses, trained doctors, there is already a care delivery happening post scenarios as well as for the elderlies, right? And this remote care delivery, and I think all this is possible because of technology. And each and every one, the point here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 has a parallel education ecosystem. If we talk about how AI can be applied in education system, this is just some thought process today. Whether it is personalized learning, I think when we talk about student and we talk about teacher, we always talk about whether we can, as a teachers, as professionals, we want to we want to give personalized learning, but we have capabilities. We cannot, we will always hit certain capability, so that we will not be able to give personalized learning to each and every student in my class. But with technology, with powered with the help of technology, this is possible today, right? Personalized learning is definitely possible. Now, and this is possible because there is a lot of data which gets accumulated, data gets analyzed, and this data, when coupled with smart content, can give a personalized learning. एक बच्चे को अगर कुछ particular topic समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, automatically system suggest कर रहा है उसको कि this is what you need to do more practice on. This is what you need to test more. This is the area in which you need more testing, and these are the tests which you can take, right? And yes, as a human, we cannot facilitate that, but there is a provision of virtual facilitator already there now. There is a provision of, through technology, automatically the answers which are being given can be graded, right? And while this is being there is a provision of, technology can help to give a chatbot, for example. Technology can also bring in the proctoring, and I'm sure COVID के time में, सारे के सारे education ecosystem ने proctored based test लेने के लिए capability सभी ने, उसको experience कर लिया है. But proctored, जो proctored हमने examination बच्चों को COVID time में दिलवाए, उसके अगर आप देखें तो उसका रोल वहीं पे नहीं खत्म हो जाता है. उसका रोल आज अगर हम दूसरे एनवायरनमेंट में सोच रहे हैं, अगर हम ये सोच रहे हैं बच्चे को पर्सनलाइज लर्निंग मिल रही है, उसका पर्सनलाइज असेसमेंट हो रहा है, तो वो पर्सनलाइज लर्निंग असेसमेंट राइटफुल वे में कैसे हो, उसके प्रॉक्टर्ड सॉल्यूशन वहां पे भी यूज हो सकते हैं. So this is where, AI as a one particular technology, because all this, whether it's proctoring, whether personalized learning, whether it's data, smart content, whether it is, the chatbots, whether adaptive learning, all this is powered through one single technology called artificial intelligence. And that's why I said earlier, AI is one of the important technology, and awareness of AI, the learning within the AI, our content, our curriculum should talk about more and more AI, is very important as we move forward from here, right? There are multiple problems which, and there are just a small list of problems, right? Because as I said earlier, personalized learning, we have typically follow standard curriculum. We typically have a standard, delivery, but this standard curriculum, standard delivery, standard pace cannot meet the need of individual, right? And when we talk about personalized learning, because एक बच्चा हो सकता है कि वो जल्दी सीख रहा है, उसलिए उसको एडवांस में इंफॉर्मेशन इन नॉलेज आनी चाहिए. कुछ बच्चों की rate of learning is slow. So how will personalized learning help? As a teacher, we have limitations. We cannot get into personalized learning all the time, but technology and AI solutions can really help that. Similarly, personal virtual tutors, one-to-one tuitions, one-to-one tutors, and I think some of this is being helped. Again, technology के साथ human intervention बहुत important है, because अगर हम everything we leave with technology, will always have this problem of whether rightful learning is happening or whether it's a misuse of technology happening. So when I say AI is powered solution, I'm not relieving humans from anywhere. I'm saying this is important, and this is where even the ecosystem is also moving. The solutions are going to be more empowered by AI, but they are administered by humans. They are administered by the people who are experts in that particular field. And in the field of education, the teachers, the gurus are the ones who have to use the technology and ensure that the solutions are adopted for a better learning, for better outcome based learning, also from our youth, for our youth, right? AI, similarly, if you talk about the new education policy in 2020, has also acknowledged very clearly that both the technologies, AI and the AI is dependent machine learning, because without the learning part, AI has no role to play. Without the analytics part, the AI cannot make any bring in any intelligence, right? These are important topics, and our curriculum has to be aligned. So that we are moving in the 21st century, we're moving towards the AI based economy, because even we decide or not decide, the whole world economy is being powered through AI now. There are multiple areas, not just, for example, healthcare I talked about, education I talked about, but you pick up any industry today, any industry, I think all the industries are looking to bring in the efficiencies, bring in the better solutions at lower the cost, and for that the technology and especially AI has a lot of role to play. Hence, isliye it's very important that our K-12 learning, our the graduate based graduate learning, and then the postgraduate learning has to be talking about AI, talking about design thinking, talking about the machine learning, talking about big data analytics. I think this is where the exposure to the students is required at a very, very early stage. And if you remember, last time I prepared, I had presented what is happening in the other countries in terms of these technologies, and the comparison showed very clearly the countries like Korea, countries like Japan, countries like China, they have been able to bring in the new technologies lower and lower to the students right now. Within the K-12 segment, for example, now the computer education, the emerging technology or the AI learning, the machine learning has been brought down to a level of grade 5, grade 6 as well, right? And this is important because the early exposure, because as humans, our minds have evolved. Today we have capability. Our kids have better capability to understand technologies. My kid today, can create games. He's just class grade 7 student right now. But and if I compare, yes, grade 7, how is he able to do it? It's not just he is able to do it. I think today the whole segment of students in the grade 7 or grade 6, they're able to do it because they are evolved than what we were at our time. And this is the reason why the education ecosystem has also need to move down in sense of new technologies, new areas are to be introduced way earlier than what was required 20 years earlier now, right? So this is where I think today, if I see adoption of AI ML has NEP 20 is already enabling. There is a clear top focus on the digital future. how do we are, NEP talks about the technologies like AI, technologies like ML, because when we talk about digital future, when I talk about digital India, we talk about future generations, right? It is important that these technologies, will make our education ecosystem, make our youth digital future ready, right? This is again keeping pace with international education ecosystem, because as I described, all developed countries, right? The countries which have very good educational ecosystem, they are now already doing this. I mean, they have been doing this over the last 5, 6, 7 years already now, and we have to pick up pace. We have, as a country, we are, I'll not say we are very late, but we are definitely, we have to catch up. We have to, ensure our pace goes up, and we need to ensure that our, the teaching mechanism also improves. Traditional teaching mechanism is very, very good. It's important, but mixing traditional with the modern approach, mixing tradition with the futuristic approach is today's, is important today. Now, if I talk about, few more technologies, for example, right, not just AI, right? If we talk about within the education ecosystem, how a technology which is a blockchain, which is another emerging technology, right? How blockchain can really help. Blockchain, if you see, has a very, I'll say, a very huge potential within the education ecosystem. One of the important part about, the education ecosystem always been the validation of what degrees, what work we have done when we were probably students, right? This validation of degree reports, validation of the research work, the validation of what we have presented in papers, this becomes very, because when we talk about blockchain based technology being used for giving degrees, giving report cards, ensuring my paperwork are published, automatically the trust part gets enabled. As a blockchain as a technology is, think about कि एक बार आपने blockchain में कुछ लिख दिया, वो म्यूटेट नहीं हो सकता, मतलब वो मॉडिफाई नहीं हो सकता. इसका मतलब है कि अगर मेरी डिग्री एक बार किसी एजुकेशनल इकोसिस्टम के द्वारा, किसी कॉलेज के द्वारा, किसी यूनिवर्सिटी के द्वारा डिग्री इश्यूड है, उस डिग्री पे कोई फजिंग नहीं हो सकती, कोई उसको फेक नहीं कर सकता, कोई बदल नहीं सकता. ऐसे अगर मैं बोलूं मैं सुबोध हूं और मेरी ये डिग्री है, तो somebody else can validate कि whether ये सुबोध is rightful person through a blockchain infrastructure, and also can validate whether this degree actually belongs to Subodh or not. And think about this, once this transparency is there, once this trust has been created by third party, right, an ecosystem of third party, this is going to enable, bring in the huge reform in the way we trust people, in the way we know whether the education ecosystem is in rightful way or not. Similarly, when we talk about, I think education ecosystem में सबसे बड़ा एक पेन पॉइंट हमेशा रहता है कि बहुत सारे बच्चों को स्कॉलरशिप मिलती है, बट वो स्कॉलरशिप हो या जो गवर्नमेंट द्वारा पेमेंट फी का जो पेमेंट का स्ट्रक्चर है, वो पेमेंट टाइम पे नहीं मिलती, या बैंकिंग इकोसिस्टम से बहुत सारे बच्चे, जैसे मैंने बताया कि कॉस्ट ऑफ एजुकेशन इज नॉट सो अफोर्डेबल एवरी टाइम, राइट? बट वंस दैट हैपेंस, वेदर द लेंडर्स आर एबल टू गिव लोन्स टू द स्टूडेंट्स, हाउ फास्ट दे कैन गिव. No, this is something where the trust can, if the trust is enabled, then, and the trust is rule based, the triggers are rule based, then think कि how much efficient this whole system will become. अगर मैं एक स्टूडेंट हूं और मुझे पता है कि मुझे अगर मैं अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहा हूं, मुझे स्कॉलरशिप मिलनी चाहिए, और मैं अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहा हूं, कॉलेज ने डिग्री का नंबर्स डाले, और मुझे जिसने स्कॉलरशिप देनी थी उसने बोला, सिस्टम ऑटोमेटिकली रूल क्रिएटेड है कि जैसे ही इसका इस कोर्स में ये पास होता है, इसका नेक्स्ट ईयर के लिए स्कॉलरशिप इशू हो जानी चाहिए. ये सिस्टम अगर ऑटोमेटेड हो जाए, तो थिंक अबाउट कि दिस हाउ मच रिफॉर्म इट कैन ब्रिंग इन द एजुकेशन सिस्टम. दिस इज पॉसिबल थ्रू ब्लॉकचेन टेक्नोलॉजीज. आई मे नॉट बी एबल टू एक्सप्लेन इन राइटफुल वर्ड्स, बट आई थिंक इट्स वेरी fundamental to think if the streamlining and the fee payments and the scholarship movement, the movement of information, right, between various entities, if that can be enabled, and that is being enabled actually, through a single platform which runs on trust, the trust which is being created by virtue of entities which are participating there, and the trust, through the trust, the rules are there which are called the smart contracts, right, and automatic through smart contracts the rules can be given. Then this whole ecosystem will run on its own, there will not be any intervention required, and hence what will happen is कि rightful जो बच्चा है उसको कोई सफर नहीं करना पड़ेगा, और जो ये सिस्टम के अंदर में जो ये प्रोसेसिंग का जो ये ओवरहेड था वो सिस्टम उससे फ्री हो जाएगा. Think about this कि जो मैंने पहले एग्जांपल दिया UPI का. UPI as a technology enabler has done what? It has freed the resource, a huge amount of resource in the banking ecosystem. Banking ecosystem में पहले जो वेरिफिकेशन था, जो पेपर ट्रेल था, जो उसका वेरिफिकेशन के बाद ट्रांसफर ऑफ मनी होता था, उसके लिए जो मैन पावर थे जो बैंकिंग इकोसिस्टम में उसके लिए इन्वॉल्व हो रही थी, जो कि एक ट्रांजैक्शन वर्क था, उस ट्रांजैक्शन वर्क की पूरी बैंडविड्थ फ्री हो गई है अभी. अब बैंकिंग इकोसिस्टम इज नाउ मोर फोकस्ड ऑन प्रोडक्टिव वर्क rather than on transactional work, and same can be achieved if one of these technologies are applied in the education ecosystem, right? Further again, there is what government is doing. I think there are a few examples which I want to quote within the health space, what government has been doing. Government through a e-hospital, government through telemedicine solutions, government through e-social program, I think has been playing a role of being an enabler in the digital health ecosystem, for example, right? And this is, government is not just saying that this is something which needs to be done, but government today is also bringing solutions and helping the adoption of the solutions also. My Ministry of Electronics and IT, when it created e-hospital solution, it also created a resource pool so that e-hospital can be deployed in the government hospital. When it talked about telemedicine platform, it ensured that there is a the infrastructure of CSCs, there is infrastructure of doctors which can support this, which can be brought onto this telemedicine platforms, right? Similarly, when Ayushman Bharat was created, it was created on digital backbone, right? And digital backbone, today we're talking about the next version of the health stack coming up. This new health stack actually will enable seamless movement of a patient from A hospital to B hospital to anywhere in the country, so that his records are can be digitally moved, his diagnosis, his reports can be accessed by each and every hospital, and hence within the ecosystem of the health, the delay part, जो कि पहले रहता था कि हम सब अपने डायग्नोस्टिक को एक हॉस्पिटल दूसरे हॉस्पिटल शिफ्ट कर रहे हैं, तो इतना टाइम जाता था कि हमारा जो असेसमेंट एक डॉक्टर ने किया वो दूसरे डॉक्टर को समझना है पहले. All this is possible through e-hospital solutions, and this is where the health stack, which is upcoming health stack, will be a game changer in the delivery of the health service in our country. And same is something which is which is being done today in some form, right, in the education ecosystem. When the government talked about earlier the content play and enabling content through Swayam and Swayam Prabha, right? This was purely on the content play. How do we ensure that quality content is available at affordable cost to each and every student which is in our country? But no, now we are not talking about just these the content delivery, but we are also talking about the concept about the learning platforms. We are talking about the concept I'll touch about briefly on digital university. But there's a clear direction. It was not about the content, digital content, delivery of the content, but also the whole education ecosystem has to be, has to expand, has to, ensure that it's digitally powered. Now, when one such example which I thought I want to discuss, I wanted to educate also was, what is, Department of Personal Training, DOPT, has done today in terms of bringing the new way of capacity building for the civil servants. Now, we all know, this learning part, is a continuous job, but it was felt within the sphere of the government that while we talk about, civil servants, there is a need for capacity building there. There is a need for bringing in new awareness around the new technologies, the awareness around, new tools. The delivery, the delivery should also be powered through new technologies, and hence, the whole the Mission Karma Yogi did not start with the content. They started with saying that there has to be a platform. There has to be a digital platform, because then only we can bring in the different forms of training. We can actually measure the outcomes which are happening through training. And this platform, I'm happy to share, this is also completely AI powered platform today. At this, the Karma Yogi platform, I got the whole portal there is powered through AI. It is powered through AI because it brings in the whole content part, the monitoring part, the evaluation part, the continuous performance analysis part is purely now lot of things are driven through data now. And when at the top of the bureaucracy, we're talking about a platform which is AI powered, because this is the layer which is actually important from our country perspective, because the strategic thinking, the futuristic thinking, the innovative thinking needs to be brought down to one layer. I think it is a message that this whole the complete education ecosystem, each and every person who's coming out into the various who's going to be playing some role or other, needs to be now be made aware about the various digital technologies. Right now, probably last two through slides, and there has been already been a good concept on digital university. I'm sure a lot of you are already aware, but today there has been a huge discussion about what digital university has to be there, what is the framework for digital university. I'm not the expert, but let me just share what I am aware of digital university, because I personally feel this is a very, very important initiative, because it helps not just about talking about the digital as a core part of the university ecosystem, but also enabling the very flexible way of learning. Right? What is digital university? If you see, at one side it says that there are students, there are colleges, there is a tech platform, and today it should not be limited to student tying with one college, right? A student tied up with one university. Right now, if student has a choice of making its own degree, making its own diploma, making its own certificate program based upon certain broader framework and guidelines, and if the choice can be exercised through its own pace of learning, through its own medium of learning, through its own needs of learning, I think then we're talking about pure digital university altogether. Right, this digital university concept, I think, is going to be will actually enable the new breed of people coming out of this our education ecosystem, people who will be skilled in these resources, people who will have not just one skill but multi skills. Right? They will be, because as we move forward, it is not about one skill which is important, it's about multiple skills which are important. And as a students, as I said earlier, as a student now we have more appetite for learning, and this appetite for learning has to be has to be answered in the phases when we can maximum learn. And hence this digital university, the whole hub and spoke model of digital university, the whole mechanism through which the various collaborations can happen, will actually really be going forward. And I think all the whether it's AICTE, UGC, I think everybody is geared up to ensure there is a central not just one, multiple digital universities can be created. I think government is going slightly slow here. I mean, the digital university, they want to bring in through some central education, central university to start with, so that the initial initial start is the rightful start. And hence I think slight cautious mode, the digital university is taking shape right now. But once it is taking shape, I think of just 4 or 5 years down the line, we should see the whole emergence of this new digital university concept. I think again, when you talk about, I think this whole platform is about skilling teachers. This is important, and I'm sure that's why we are talking today. But further, there are multiple such platforms. Like, I think again, this is not something which I'm involved, but this is something which I'm aware. That Pragyata platform is actually now helping a lot of teachers to better prepare themselves to explore new tools of learning. So through LMS, etc., I think there are now the new content, the new courses are being made available. It's not about just the content part, but also the teaching, the pedagogy, how to teach, etc., is made available there. Right. So overall, I think the conceptually, what I thought is more important right now to understand is digital as a enabler is playing a lot of role. And I didn't want to get into too much deep into technology part, but to probably talk more about I'll say the parallel which I want to draw, the parallel, so that this enables probably broader thinking. This enables some kind of innovative thinking as a teachers, because when I mentor some startups, we have a role to play. My role when we look into the startup ecosystem, because today within STPI we are now working with the good set of minds, I'll say. The reason I'm saying that, because today the whole set of new people, they are looking into the innovative solutions, and when we mentor them, we only tell them, you need to have a rightful problem in mind and ensure that the problem is served through a rightful solution, and that's when you will make a meaningful enterprises going forward. And the same is important when we talk about education ecosystem. The technologies which are primarily have some part, I think when we are aware that technology has an important play in our field, then automatically we will learn them, we will make our students better learn them. I think with those words, I'm open for any question which I can really answer, and I hope my very, I'll say, high level presentation probably has helped some of you. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So I can take up any question. Yeah.
सर, इंडिया में कोई डिजिटल यूनिवर्सिटी है क्या?
नहीं, अभी डिजिटल यूनिवर्सिटी का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है ये अभी शेप अप हो रहा है. आई थिंक लास्ट फ्यू मंथ्स में देयर हैज बीन सम शेपिंग अप, बट एटलीस्ट टू माय नॉलेज अभी डिजिटल यूनिवर्सिटी फॉर्मली किसी भी उसने अभी डिक्लेयर नहीं किया है अपने आप को, बट द कंटेंट प्लानिंग इज हैपनिंग. The whole shaping of this, what will be, what courses can be offered, what flexibility we can give, what kind of what way, I think the degrees and the courses will be made acceptable to the industry. I think that is happening, and I'm sure this will be launched soon.
Sir, good afternoon. I'm Dr. Kundan from Mumbai University. So I want to know whether there is any plan of government to reach rural people. Very
So you're saying plan of government to reach
with the rural people, such artificial intelligence, such higher technological tools to rural people.
This I may not be able to have give you some examples in which it is, let's say, made available to the rural, but let me tell you, in terms of what work we are doing within STPI, we have established, like for example, I'll give you example of Northeast, right? In Northeast, we have established what we call as innovation zones. These innovation zones are primary places where some of these tools and technologies are made available in do-it-yourself environment, right? And we are now exposing this do-it-yourself environment to the students. And when I talk about Northeast, again, because Northeast also the same problem is there, right? And government had put some initiative around Northeast. Similarly, we have done initiatives of establishing such labs which can be utilized, which can be showcased to the students. They can come and do some learning in other cities as well. I'll not say as of now our mandate is not to get into the rural ecosystem completely, but I'm sure there will be some other department which I'm not aware, and there will be some examples, if not now, they will be in future, where these tools will be made available. Because even if you go back and see Atal Tinkering Labs were established in a lot of schools. I think more than 3,500 schools they have been established, and the objective of Atal Tinkering Lab was very clearly give them rightful tools to the students of K-12 segment, so that they can play with technologies, they can play with robotics, they can play with drone. When they're playing with robotics and drone, they are playing with AI actually, right? They're trying to learn the whole concept of how a machine is moving, how is machine able to make a decision, and they are getting exposed to AI. And these Atal Tinkering Labs, I'm sure, will be available in a lot of places, but obviously not in all rural places as of now.
Thank you, sir.
सर, मेरा प्रश्न है, हाई स्पीड इंटरनेट क्या है?
अच्छा, हाई स्पीड इंटरनेट क्या है? नहीं, देखिए, हाई स्पीड इंटरनेट मतलब इंटरनेट की जो बैंडविड्थ बढ़ रही है, यू टॉकिंग अबाउट जितना जैसे हम एक्सेस कर रहे हैं आज, अगर हम इस लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग इस पर्टिकुलर सेशन में ऑल ऑफ अस एबल टू स्ट्रीम our video, our audio, and this is only possible because we have probably utilizing more than 2 Mbps, in some cases 10 Mbps, or some cases 40 Mbps speed, and this is high speed internet. How is it getting enabled, right? Obviously I'm sure आप जैसे पहले ब्रॉडबैंड का इवोल्यूशन हुआ, मोबाइल टेलीफोनी में इवोल्यूशन हुआ, पहले GPRS में जो स्पीड्स थी, it used to be only kbps. Then we got the GPRS H, then we got 3G, then we got 4G, and now we are talking about 5G, and 5G deployment is already happening. With 5G deployment, the whole high speed data connectivity will become ubiquitous, means it will be available in every nook and corner of the country, because 5G deployment has so much of capacity, so much of capability, and it will get enabled. And once that is happening, I'm sure एजुकेशन इकोसिस्टम के पर्सपेक्टिव से अगर हाई स्पीड इंटरनेट की कहीं भी बॉटलनेक थी, वो दूर, जो ऑलरेडी काफी दूर हो चुकी है, और जो भी आई थिंक जो हमारा थोड़ा बहुत जो भी गैप्स रह गए, ब्लाइंड स्पॉट्स रह गए, वहां पे भी ये दूर जल्दी हो जाएगी.
Okay.
Sir, as per right now, I know that the blockchain techniques are under hand of only few people or few groups of companies. Then it may not be possible that if we use education system in blockchain technique, maybe some monopolistic views offered by some group of people or group of companies.
No, I will not agree to that, because technology is if you say blockchain, right? Blockchain is primarily today 3 different technologies under play. One is the hyperledger platform, right? The other is the distributed ledger platform, and I think one more, which is Ethereum platform, right? Now these are 3 different implementation. Ethereum, the Hyperledger by IBM, the Ethereum by the guys who have actually created the Bitcoin, right? And I think the distributed ledger, the different technology providers are there, but this is very open environment of technology. Now there are a lot of blockchain experts which are now developing based upon these platforms their solutions. One part is technology, the ownership of technology. The second part is the deployment of that technology. Deployment is not controlled by by a handful of companies. Yes, IBM has its own infrastructure of blockchain. The AWS has, Amazon has infrastructure of blockchain. So as I think the NIC of the mighty, right? I think there is already CDAC is working on a platform which can be made available for government use of over blockchain. So there is not the limitation of being this whole blockchain as a technology being controlled by few corporates. I have not seen such example, right? Today we have startups which are solutions which are being utilized by universities to give their digital degrees right now. And yes, the validation until it becomes is being made adopted at a government level, it will be probably still be what you call distribute, it will still be unorganized in segments, right? Which means that there may be multiple platforms, but these platforms, blockchain inherently cannot be controlled by one particular corporate. So that is the way, that's why the reason the blockchain is so powerful, so being used widely today, because there is no way in blockchain can be controlled by just the handful nodes, which can be controlled by handful set of companies. For them.
सर एक क्वेश्चन है सर.
Yes, विकास है.
सर आप हिंदी में समझा सकते हैं ना सर?
बिल्कुल कोशिश करूंगा जी कोशिश करूंगा.
कह रहे थे सर, भारत में डिजिटल डिवाइड की जो समस्या है उसके लिए भारत सरकार कोई ऐसी योजना चला रही है? यहाँ कॉलेज में जो शिक्षक है उसको भी अलॉट ऑफ जो टेक्नोलॉजी का नॉलेज नहीं है, और स्टूडेंट को तो छोड़ दीजिए सर. तब इस सब समस्या को देखते हुए तो डिजिटल इंडिया की ओर तरफ रुख करेंगे हम लोग.
नहीं, आपने जो बिल्कुल एक समस्या के बारे में जिक्र किया है, मैं कहूँगा सरकार के द्वारा, और जो हम जिस प्लेटफॉर्म में, जैसे आज हम ये UGC द्वारा चलाई जा रही मुहिम के अंदर में हम बैठे हुए हैं, उसका एक रोल और मैंडेट यही है कि डिजिटल अवेयरनेस शिक्षकों में कैसे बढ़े. ठीक है, इसके लिए जो हम एज आई विल से जैसे डॉक्टर अतुल ने ये आज मीटिंग ऑर्गेनाइज करी है, उसका एक पहलू यही है कि कुछ एक लर्निंग आपको मिले। और जैसे मैं बताया कि स्वयं प्रभा और ये जो दूसरा एक प्लेटफॉर्म था, राइट, आई थिंक प्रगीता प्लेटफॉर्म, राइट, इसके इन प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे फोकस यही है कि टीचर्स अपने आप को कैसे अपस्किल करें, ट्रेन करें, राइट। मैं क्योंकि मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एचआरडी का से बहुत ज़्यादा बिलोंग नहीं करता हूँ, इसलिए मैं कोई पर्टिकुलर स्कीम के बारे में तो नहीं बता पाऊंगा, बट मुझे ये बात आप बिल्कुल, क्योंकि जितना कॉमन नॉलेज से, जितना हम गवर्नमेंट के इकोसिस्टम में जितना देखते हैं, उससे ये बात क्लियर है कि टीचर स्किलिंग के लिए देयर इज लॉट ऑफ रिसोर्सेज, लॉट ऑफ फोकस इज ऑलरेडी देयर, ये करा जा रहा है और ये जरूरी है। जैसे आपने कहा, जब तक एज टीचर्स हम डिजिटली उन चीजों के बारे में नहीं समझेंगे, राइट, बट नहीं समझने से पहले एक क्वेश्चन आता है कि क्या समझना जरूरी है कि नहीं जरूरी है। इसलिए आज के मेरा जो लेक्चर था और जो आज मैंने टॉपिक कवर किया, मैंने यही कोशिश करी है कि हमको पहले ये अंदर से ये एक अवेयरनेस जरूरी है कि ये चीज हमको सीखनी जरूरी है। जब अगर हम ये मानते हैं ये जरूरी है, तो ऑटोमेटिकली उसको सीखने के जरिए भी हमको मिल जाता है।
जी
सर, इंडिया में डिजिटल क्रांति है, इसके लिए स्कूल लेवल पे कंप्यूटर और टेक्नोलॉजी की जो शिक्षा है उसको अनिवार्य क्यों नहीं कर दिया?
अनिवार्य कर सकते हैं, बट अभी मुझे लगता है कि अनिवार्यता से जैसे अनिवार्य करेंगे, तो जैसे अभी
अभी ट्रांजिशनल फेज में ना है सर, अनिवार्य कैसे कर सकते हैं? अभी बहुत सारी समस्या उत्पन्न हो सकती है।
एग्जैक्ट, अनिवार्य करने से पहले किसी भी चीज, देखो, अनिवार्य करने से पहले फिर हम देखेंगे कि डिजिटल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कितना है हमारे पास में, डिजिटल रिसोर्सेज कितने हैं हमारे पास में, डिजिटल एजुकेशन को इम्पार्ट करने के लिए हमारे टीचर्स कितने केपेबल हैं, और जब तक ये 4-5 चीजें नहीं होंगी, अनिवार्यता नहीं होगी। बट अनिवार्यता के तरफ बढ़ने से पहले ये जो अभी जो भी चल रहा है काम, वो इसी डायरेक्शन में है कि अनिवार्य किए बिना इसको ये किया जाए कि ये इसकी आवश्यकता है, ठीक है, आवश्यकता है। इसलिए सरकार इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पे पुश कर रही है, सरकार डिजिटल एजुकेशन के ऊपर, टेक्नोलॉजी अवेयरनेस के ऊपर काफी काम कर रही है। और साथ में जब हम जैसे हम लोग बहुत सारे सेशंस कराते हैं स्टार्टअप्स के द्वारा भी और स्टूडेंट्स को एंगेजमेंट कराते हैं, तो वो इसलिए कि एक एस्पिरेशन बिल्ड किया जाए। एस्पिरेशन इसलिए क्योंकि जब हमें एज अ स्टूडेंट लगता है कि ये टेक्नोलॉजी में लर्न करने से हम भी एक सक्सेसफुल एंटरप्राइज बना सकते हैं, एस्पिरेशन एक एंगल से देख रहा हूँ, तो अगर वो पॉसिबल है और किया पॉसिबल सक्सेस मिलेगी, तो बच्चे भी वो चीज को मांगेंगे, और वो एज टीचर्स हमको भी लगेगा कि हमको वो काम करना चाहिए। इनफैक्ट मुझे 2 मिनट दीजिए, मुझे लग रहा है कि मेरा बैटरी जा रहा है, जस्ट गिव मी अ मिनट।
और किन्हीं का कोई प्रश्न नहीं हो तो वोट है थैंक्स किया जाए।
मुझे मेरे द्वारा देना है सर, आ जाए,
किया जा सकता है।
तो थैंक्स किया जा सकता है। और किसी का प्रश्न? सर, वोट ऑफ थैंक्स मुझे देना है सर।
जी स्टार्ट हो जाइए।
जी, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल गुड इवनिंग एंड हैप्पी संविधान दिवस आवर रेस्पेक्टिव रिसोर्स पर्सन सर, डायरेक्टर सर, डिप्टी डायरेक्टर सर, डॉक्टर सुख सर, आवर द बेस्ट पार्टिसिपेंट्स फ्रेंड्स, खाली जी, उमर जी। आज हम लोगों ने बहुत ही अच्छा टॉपिक्स पर डिस्कशन किया। इसके तहत और वो टॉपिक था डिजिटल एजुकेशन इन डिजिटल इंडिया। इस टॉपिक के तहत हम लोगों ने बहुत नए नए टर्म की जानकारी मिली, सीखा भी, जैसे आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, एएल, एमएल इत्यादि। इससे वो वाकई में सिर्फ अपने ही के बारे में जानकारी मिली, ये जानकारी मिलने के बाद हम स्टूडेंट्स को, समाज को भी लाभान्वित करेंगे और आशा है हमारे सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स भी लाभान्वित हुए होंगे। इस चैप्टर के लिए, इस टॉपिक के लिए सर आपको बहुत ऑफ थैंक्स, लॉट ऑफ थैंक्स सर, हमारे सारे टीम, सभी पार्टिसिपेंट सर के तरफ। थैंक यू सर, प्रणाम सर।
थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू, नमस्कार।
नमस्कार।
थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू सर।
Thank you, sir.
नमस्कार सर, थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir.